Hello, and welcome back to the Burnt Pancakes podcast. I am your host, Katie Fensky. And like every week, I'm here to remind you that everyone burns their first pancake, so just keep flipping. Today's conversation is with Ashley Calhoun. She is a mom of two who are 10 years apart. This is a really fun conversation. We talk all things motherhood, from having a boy and a girl, what those preteen years were like, what it's like having kids 10 years apart, and how motherhood can make us pivot in our careers. Talking to her just made me realize how much I love what I do. My goal with this podcast was just to open up conversations. I love chit-chatting about motherhood, and that's exactly what we do on this podcast today. So stay tuned for Ashley and I talking all things motherhood. Ashley, welcome to the podcast.
Hey,
This is so fun. I think we're going to have a great conversation just all about motherhood. This is going to be fun. So tell us a little bit about your kids. So you have two kids and they're 10 years apart. So give us the rundown on that.
girl, 10 years apart. She'll be 12 next week. And then my son just made 2 in May. My husband and I spent a lot of time together during COVID. He was on remote work and boom, then we had this boy.
A COVID
So
baby.
it's been, yes, he is truly a COVID baby. It was rough being pregnant during that time too.
I bet isolating. Like, did you feel very
My
alone?
husband
Like,
couldn't come.
couldn't come to
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
Oh my God. I snuck my last in December of 2019. And I
Okay.
feel so lucky because I'm like, I can't imagine if it was like he couldn't be at the delivery room. Was your husband able to like be at the delivery, stay in the hospital? Yeah. Okay. Phew.
Oh, I would not have been able to do it. Like,
No.
I had anxiety like never before with my baby. And so
While you were
I'm
pregnant
still
or?
recovering. Oh yeah. Like I didn't know there was a such thing as antepartum depression. I didn't know that it existed. That's like during your pregnancy. I didn't know that I would just have panic attacks in the pregnancy, but I
Wow.
was so scared to do anything
Right.
because of the pandemic. And it's like,
Yes.
oh, if I go here,
How
I'm
did
going to get
not
sick.
more women go through that? Being pregnant during the pandemic. Yeah. Did you get treatment for it? Did you know like, oh, this is anxiety, or was it just like, what's going on here?
I didn't know. And I'm very much a try to struggle through it alone person. And trying to be strong.
All right.
But
Yeah,
I didn't realize,
do everything
my doctor
on my
was like,
own.
she was like, you don't need to be strong. And I'm like, oh, okay. So how I realized, like, they would put the Doppler machine on, they have me in this little tiny room, and I start having an anxiety attack. And I was like, I'm not trying to be difficult, but I'm like sweating, nothing is calming me down, no music. I don't have anybody in here with me. And so that's when we kind of realized, like, oh wait, there's something deeper here. I would wake up in the middle of the night and pace the floor. I didn't want to wake my husband up. He's sleeping like a baby.
Of course.
My daughter's in like my daughter's in her room sleeping like a baby. And I'm like, why am I the only one up? So it was tough because, and at first I was like, well, maybe it's the age, right? Because when I was younger with her, it was just easier.
Do you mind me asking how old you were when you had him?
Yeah. I was 39. I was 38 pregnant and turned 39 right after I had him. So I'll be 41 in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had my youngest a month before I turned 39. So I was 38 and 11 months. Yeah. Which was different. It was different being like, I was 33 with my first, which wasn't like super young, but it was like you're geriatric. Like the pregnancy was way harder. Yeah. My body didn't recover like I thought it would after the third one. Yes. Okay.
Mine did not either.
Yeah. I'm still working on it. It'll get there. Did the anxiety go away after you gave birth, or was it took a while?
Yeah. I remember praying, like, I hope this anxiety goes away. I hope the swelling goes away. And one of the nurses was like, hey, don't want to scare you, but sometimes it gets worse. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. Appreciate you so much.
Really
yeah, you're amazing. And so no, like my husband was able to be there for the delivery, but I had anxiety attacks in the hospital. I was like, hey, y'all gotta let me out because I couldn't walk the halls.
Oh
And
my
so they let me out
God.
the hospital.
Wow.
That night, I had a lot of anxiety. My first night home, the swelling got really bad. I called the nurse line and they were like, just double up your meds. And I'm like, but I'm nursing. What do you mean? They're like, it's okay. The baby will be fine. I doubled up my meds. And in the middle of that night, I woke up like pacing and with the chills, almost like I was like going through withdrawal from something. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this is not gonna
Right.
work.
Something feels
It
wrong.
got it was like it took me until he was like a good year old to come out of it. I
Yeah.
still have anxiety, but the attacks aren't there.
Aren't
The
there.
depression is not the same. I was like, whoa, who knew?
Rocked your world. And I think a lot of people go through
Yeah.
it and don't know like what to do about it. Like you kind of like in a
Yeah.
cycle, you feel stuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad it's getting a little easier. I mean, having a
Thank you.
2-year-old, that doesn't feel easier.
Oh,
So
he
what
is
was it like
busy.
though? Yeah, right. So what's it like having a girl versus a boy? Like my boys are just active, active, active. I like picture girls being like sitting and having tea parties and like being easy, but would you say one's easier, one's not? Are they different?
She was easier. She was definitely easier at the younger
Younger
ages.
age.
Like
Okay.
he jumps off of furniture and dives,
Yes.
and we have crash pads everywhere. And I'm
Everywhere. They are,
sitting like
yes.
this.
They're just constantly moving and climbing. I just told my husband yesterday,
Yep.
we were at the store and he went with me and it was all 5 of us. And I was like, I hate shopping with my kids because they have to touch everything. They have to be running everywhere. They can't, I'm like, just stand by the cart, but they just can't
Yep.
do that. Everything has to be, I'm going to
Mhm.
open this door. I'm going to touch this. I'm going to do that. I'm like, just
Yep.
stand here. They can't.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Yep.
That's Cam. So it's different. But I would say this. I would say I, for some reason, was so delusional and thought that it would get easier because she was older. No, no, it's not
Mm.
easier,
Yeah.
especially with a girl.
Everyone says boys are harder when they're young because they're just so much energy. But once they get to like their teen years, they should be easier. And the girls get like very emotional, and that's the hard part. So I'm praying that I'm cashing in now. Like I'm putting in my work now, and it's gonna get easier for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, "No, Katie, no."
Yeah. I was
But
like, this will be
that's
a
my
breeze.
plan. Yeah, right.
Mm.
Be easy. So preteen years, is she emotional? Is that like that's what I hear a lot of girl
Yeah,
moms.
it's like really high highs or really low lows. You could give
Mm,
her the world and then say, but you know what? No, I'm not going to give you that one thing. And you are the worst person in the world.
yes.
So as a parent,
Oh,
it's hard because you
that's
want your kids to
hard.
be happy. And so
Yes.
it's really hard to interact with that and have
Mhm.
the boundaries because you're like, "Eh." So I just started a ledger. I keep a ledger of everything that I spend on her. I know it could be a little petty, but because she forgets and then I
Yeah.
forget. And I'm like, girl, you just got this yesterday. No.
Yes. And you want to have this great relationship with your daughter. Like I pictured like when I thought I was going to have a girl, like, oh, I'm going to have a best friend. It's going to be so fun. But I also remember how I was with my mom when I was in high school, and I was not nice to her. I I look
I
back now and
wasn't
my
either.
mom was a saint. She is the most amazing woman, and I was horrible to her. We're very close now. You have your own kids and you realize like, oh,
Same
mom
here.
was right.
Yeah.
Mom was
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was not easy. Um, was it hard going from having one who was like past the baby stage, past the little kid stage, sleeping great, listening, potty trained, to like, oh my gosh, we're
Mhm.
starting all over again?
Yeah, because I felt like, wow, she was halfway out the door. Like we
Mhm.
literally said that. She was halfway out the door to
Yes.
college,
And we're starting all
independent.
over.
I am very much a planner. So I had these plans for my life, my
Mm,
career. So I had to come to terms with, even though I still tried to do what I wanted to do, that wasn't the
yes.
plan. So
Yes.
it's very hard. It's very hard. but
Yeah.
she's helpful. I thought they weren't going to get along. They are and so in love. I call them peanut butter and jelly.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, how cute. Even with that age gap, that's so awesome. That's
Yeah.
really sweet.
Yeah.
I did meet another mom. I joined this like mom walk group and I felt a little awkward at
Okay.
first because everyone had little babies and I had my 3-year-old and I'm like, he doesn't even sit in my stroller anymore. But there was another mom who had a 3.5-year-old and she also has a high school age son. And
Okay.
like hearing her talk about how close they are, like the older son doesn't want to go away to college because he's like, but I won't be around my brother. I won't be able to help him
Oh.
grow up. I was like, that's sweet. Like I would have thought that age gap would be like, there's two separate people, that was, oh, that's so sweet.
Yep.
But going back to like not sleeping again, that must have been rough, really hard.
I just started sleeping through the night 2 months ago. So I haven't slept in 3 years.
Yeah.
2 months ago, I just started getting sleep. So yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. I remember when we were thinking about having our third, my middle son was not quite 2 yet. And we were like, if we're going to do it now, well, one, my age, I'm like, it's going to have to happen soon. Otherwise we're not doing it. And then we're like, we need to do it while we're still kind of in this like not sleeping mode, because now that we're sleeping, I'm like, oh my God, I could never go back. Like, oh, it's so nice to have kids that sleep till 6:37. They're, but they're like so much more. I can't imagine starting all over again. And you had to get all the baby gear again. You probably had already donated that. It's gone.
Everything was
Everything.
gone. I had to start from scratch. I had to like relearn because things had changed.
Oh
10
my
years.
God. Was okay. So let's see.
So many changes.
What baby gear or what things were different from your daughter to your son? Like the baby gear just in the last 3 years is like, they make that now. They make like a crib that puts your baby to bed for you. What?
Right. The Mama Ruth thing, like the rocker. She didn't have that. We had like the cradle swing. The old school cradle swing back in 2011. Her stroller. And so her stroller, it was a nice stroller, but like then they just like,
oh, they have
upgraded all the way. Yeah.
Big time. It's so funny. I was talking to a friend. She was like, a bunch of moms, like 15 moms walked into a coffee shop the other day. And she was like, looking around, she's like, do you know how much money or like the amount of value is in this room, right? Just on strollers alone. Cause they all had like the Upper Baby, the really nice
The
one.
Upper Baby. That's what I got. Yeah.
Yes. She was like, there are multiple $1,000 strollers in this room. She's like, this is a lot of money right here.
But this is what I learned from
very
the
nice
stroller. Yeah. I learned that like with my son, my daughter's strollers, I was buying cheaper strollers, but I was also at a different point professionally.
Yeah.
With his, he got like creme de la creme. Yeah. Yeah. Like let's do it.
I got to test
but
drive
it lasts longer.
Yeah. My cousin had one. And so for one of my YouTube videos, I'm like, I'm going to review one. I'm going to see, are these worth the money after using it? I was like, 100%. Like if I had to go back to 2013 when I bought my stroller, although my stroller lasted me for all 3 kids. So it was a good investment to get like a pretty decent stroller because they last long.
I agree.
What about sleep? Was there anything that changed in those years about like baby sleep?
Yeah, they have a ton of monitors, like the owl monitors and all of that. But I've got trauma from my daughter. She like choked in her sleep one night.
Oh my gosh.
As a newborn baby. Yeah. And I just happened to get up and see her in the bassinet. So for me, he's like
right there.
That's how it was. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not trusting anything. I just remembered that.
Baby-led weaning with my oldest one. Where instead of giving them purees, you're giving them like finger foods and stuff.
Yeah.
He at one point took half of a slice of avocado and like swallowed the whole thing. But as he was doing it was like he was gagging, which they say it's normal, but this was like, he is kind of choking on this. He got it down. But after that, I was like, I don't know if I'm doing this with my other children. Like we did kind of like modified. We did like little peas and stuff, but I was like traumatized by that experience. It was so scary. It was awful.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. So you said something about how your like career path got interrupted or changed with your kids. So tell us a little bit about where the career path went since having these 2 kids.
As my daughter got older, well, I'll take it. I'm gonna try to up really quick, but I'll take it back a bit. When I first had her, it was like, oh, I've got to climb this career ladder because, she's depending on me and I want her to have the best schools and the best this and great trips and experiences. So I focused a lot of time on climbing a career ladder.
What
One
industry
day
were
I
you
came
in?
home.
What were you in?
So I worked for the school system in
Okay.
Chicago, but I did
Okay.
like school budgets and finance. And
Got it.
I was like on the trajectory. I was up for a promotion, like life-changing promotion. And I came home one day and my husband was like, I don't want to hear you come home and complain. Like you actually don't like working for other people. I think you should start entrepreneurship. So I'm
Wow.
like, okay, cool. She's old enough. This is 2018. Like she's
Okay.
old enough. Okay. So I kind of did that. Some more to that story, but I did that and started the entrepreneurial journey. We moved to Georgia. I got back into real estate and I
Ooh.
was going hard, like had the plan and everything, was in one of the top offices in Georgia, had the best
Wow.
training, working every day.
I
Like
was
she
like,
could fix
that's
her own
super
food.
time consuming, right? You're working whenever your client needs you.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. And the traffic in Georgia is no joke. So I could be gone for hours, like an hour, 2 hours, to just get to a house. And then I was out doing some home tours and got sick. Why am I sick? And I would just like kept getting sick. And I was like, I can't be pregnant. Like I just can't be. And I was
Oops.
pregnant. So I was like,
Uh,
this is not gonna stop me at all. I kept going through the pregnancy, even though I would get sick and had some high risk issues along the
mm,
way. Had my son, had the best summer ever right after he was born in
oh,
real estate. Then we moved because my in-laws needed to move in with us. So that's a whole nother. But I was like, I can't keep working at this pace. Like I would strap him on my back and take him to showings
yeah.
with me.
Wow.
Yeah, but he'd be in the car for hours. And I'm just like, that's not fair to this baby. It's not fair to him. I can't keep doing this. And I just had to really sit and think about what I'm good at real estate, but what am I great at? And
Mm,
still gives me like the balance. I had in that entrepreneurial journey gotten my coaching certification. And so I spent a year long doing this program, but I just kind of didn't
didn't do
attract
anything.
to it. I don't like the word. Yeah, I didn't really do it. I don't like the word coach. So that's probably why.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I need to go back there, but I need to really hone in on my thing, not just everything. And that is how I got back into coaching and in that journey. But it was hard because it's so easy to want to go sell a house real quick, but I have to think about what's going to make me happy first and then what
Mhm.
benefits everybody else in this household and in my family.
Yeah. Was it a scary choice to leave real estate? Because you were doing great there. Was it kind of hard to be like,
Yeah.
am I really dropping this?
Yeah, because part of me feels like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I just say it out loud. It's like I'm quitting when everybody else is quitting because I don't want it to look like I'm quitting because the economy's shifting again, because that so wasn't my
Right.
reason.
Right.
So there's a huge part of you that feels like a failure. And then you're like, but I'm not. I just had like the best freaking summer. Um,
And then everyone
so
around you, why would you leave? Why would you quit? Like having to deal with like, okay, like you don't understand what's in my heart. Like you just see the outside of you have a
yeah,
great job. Why would you leave
yeah,
that? Mm.
yeah. Not understanding how much it took out of me
Mm-hmm.
dealing with 35. You got 35 million bosses who know everything.
Oh,
And real estate agents take a lot. And I don't think people actually understand that, like how
oh
much
no.
they take and deal with. And the most don't make a lot of money. Most don't make a living.
Wow.
So
Well, especially
um
prices by us are outrageous right now. It's so I'm like, I don't know how anyone's buying houses right now.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
crazy. Okay, so then you switch and you became a coach. Are you working from home now? Are you able to do it from home?
I am. I'm
So
doing it
has
from
that
home and
how is
go
it
ahead.
going? Are you like has it changed your family? Is it something that's lighting you up?
Oh, it lights me up every day. But I would
Mm.
say what lights me up now is to really know who I help. I'm not fair. Like I'm not for everyone. And knowing that is what I think keeps me going every single day. And there's been a better balance. Like my daughter sat down with me and told me, like, I'm really glad you went back into coaching because you're home more now.
Wow. Was that
I was
like,
like, oh,
ooh, that's very eye-opening.
yeah.
But how insightful
I
for
was like,
her
oh,
to
you,
like say that to you and like recognize that because she remember like your
she was
son
like, I
won't
like you
remember.
home.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you want me around?
Yeah.
I love that.
Right.
It's like for my
I'm
boys,
like,
it's like,
oh,
yeah, mom's here, but dad's so cool. Like dad's so much better than me. For my kids, like one day my son said, "Can I snuggle with you?" I'm like, absolutely, get over here. Like, yeah,
yeah,
you want
let's
me?
go, buddy. Yeah.
I bet your son though,
Mhm.
he's still probably like mama's boy, right? He still loves his mom. Mine are
Oh, he
mine are
is a
slowly.
mama's boy all the way.
Mine like they hit like 5 or 6 and it's like, oh, dad's cooler than you now. I'm like, oh man, I get you for such a short time.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it'll probably get there. She was never mama's girl, so I
Oh,
never had that with her. So it's very hard.
yeah.
Like he wants me to
Yeah.
just hold him, and I'm like, I could be doing 30 things right now. Why do I have to hold you some? But
Right.
I'm cherishing it because this is my last one.
I know. And there are days where you're like, I just want to put you down. But I remember that when they were little, like gosh, when was it? Like maybe around a year where I'm trying to make dinner and I'm holding them because they like the minute you put them down, they start crying. Well, now I wish I could
Yeah,
go back and just hold them. So yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I remember I kept complaining. I just want to put you down. And I'm like, I wish I could
yeah.
hold you again. Oh. Okay. So what kind of coaching do you do? Like what kind of clients do you have? What do you do?
Yeah. So I help women 30 and over, life change coaching. So there's something holding them back, and I help them kind of figure it out, release those brakes, and move towards their breakthrough so they can just hit the gas running. One of
Mm,
the big
I love
things
that.
that I'm so big about, I say F the hustle. Like we gotta redefine,
Yes.
fix the hustle, fix it. Like
Yes.
we have to redefine what we think of as hustle culture and hustle
Mhm.
because it is affecting not only us but the people in our life. Hustle is important, but how we go about it, we got to really be intentional and purpose driven, and so that is what I'm helping people figure out based on my life journey and experience and then the training that I got. So
Oh
I'm
my
able to
gosh, I
really kind
love
of
that.
bring
Yes.
bring my
Because it
passion
is
there. Yeah.
very easy to get into that hustle life. Like it's great to be a hard worker. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But then you get
Yeah.
so wrapped up in like your career and your job. And like as moms, there's that awful like feeling of I'm being pulled away from my family, but then I have to have this job.
Yeah.
That's where I felt. That's where I left my teaching job after 17 years because I remember we got an email. It was like, I still remember this moment so clearly. We got an email one day saying, hey, next year we're going to start doing like required meetings every day at 9. And I had a pretty flexible job because I was working mostly with homeschooled kids. But in my
Okay.
head, my first thought was, my son's preschool starts at 9. I won't be able to take him to preschool. And even though like I had my mom and my husband's like, I can help out, it'll be fine. I was like, I'm his mom. Like he's only in preschool for such a short time. That is stopping me from doing that. And I remember just like crying on the couch one night. I was like, I have to take him to preschool. So my husband's like, well, if you weren't teaching, what do you like? What do you like to do? And I'm like, well, I like talking to moms and I like helping them. And then from that, like fast forward 2 years, I'm like, I have a podcast. I'm a potty training coach. Like I
Which I
took
need you
that.
so much for that. Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
need you.
will
I was
help
gonna
you.
bring that up.
I just the other day I was meeting with this mom and I got off the phone and I was like, I needed me 7 years ago, however long ago it was. I needed me. I needed someone who could like hold my hand and walk me through it, not just like me being in my head saying, I'm such a bad mom because my kid's not potty trained. So like that was such a
Yeah.
feeling of when people started asking me like, hey, I need some potty train tips. I was like, maybe this is something I should be doing. Maybe I should like help out moms. So that was a
Oh,
big pivot. If I had thought about this 20 years ago, like, hey, you're going to quit teaching at the age of 41, 42, however old I was like, no, that's not happening. Like I have to do this till I retire, right? Nope. Like you don't have to, you don't have to do it till you retire. So, and it has been so great for my family. Like having the flexibility to say, I can pick up my kids every day and I can take them to sports and I don't have to worry about like, who's going to carpool, who's going to take them. It's been such a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited about the sports with my boy.
Oh
That's
my
what I'm
gosh.
excited about.
I look back now and sometimes I'm like, God, why did you give me 3 boys? Well, when they started sports and I'm sitting on the sidelines with my like matching shirts, I'm like, this is exactly why I have boys. Cause it is so fun. Oh my gosh. Especially as they get older. Cause like my older son, he's 9. So he's been playing since like 5. My middle just started T-ball level. And it's like, oh, I forgot how boring that level was. But with my older son, it was like, it's so fun. It's so great. But each year just gets more and more exciting. So we're getting ready for our football season coming up. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun. I love it. I love it.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you for that. I'm excited.
Yes. It'll be fun. He's got a couple of years to go. Like you can kind of dabble in a few things, but it's, oh my God, it's the best. And you meet so many great friends through sports and it's just, it's so fun. That's our Saturdays pretty much year round, but like, I love it. So, yeah. Oh, well, awesome. This has been such great. When I saw you on Instagram, I just like every video I watched was so positive. And I feel like that's kind of who I am, where I'm like, glasses half full, right? Like, I just felt like you had such great energy. So if people wanted to find you, where would we go?
At Ash AFH your coach on Instagram.
Awesome. And I'll
Best
make sure
place to find me.
I'll put you in the show notes too, so they can find you that way. Well, thank you so much for coming on for this.
Thank you for this.
This was so fun. I hope you enjoyed this great conversation I had with Ashley. I felt like I just ran into her at a park and we just started discussing motherhood. And that's exactly what I want you to be a part of. If you love this podcast as much as I love making it, it would mean the world to me if you shared this with your mom friends. If you left me a review, left me 5 stars, subscribed to my YouTube channel, or found me on social media at Burnt Pancakes with Katie. And until next week, I want to remind you that everyone burns their first pancake, so just keep flipping.